Live from Monday night.
We're live. Josh and Jen's camera isn't working, so maybe it'll start working. Sometimes it just randomly starts working in the middle of the show. I Googled it. Apparently this is a really common thing for people that use Mavericks.
Yeah, it'll start working and I'll be like picking my teeth or something.
There you go.
I hope that's a still frame when the people are like, oh, click.
Exactly. All right, here we go.
We're 1,000 miles from comfort. We have traveled land and sea. But as long as you are with me, there's no place I'd rather be.
I would wait forever, exalted in the sea. As long as I am with you, my heart continues to beat.
With every step we take, Kyoto to the bay, strolling so casually. We're different and the same. Give you another name, switch up the batteries. If you gave me a chance, I would take it. It's a shot in the dark, but I'll make it.
No, with all of your heart, you can't shake me.
When I am with you, there's no place I'd rather be.
Good evening, Jennifer.
Good evening, Ed.
Good evening, Josh.
Welcome to the Gleeful Podcast with Josh, Jen, and Ed. You can find us online at Gleeful Podcast. On Twitter, on Gleeful Podcast, I'm at Josh Burnell. She's at Jenny B. Creative. He's at Edward Giordano. Jennifer.
Joshua.
What you were mad at my note card?
Josh is once again writing a script with two leads are Scott and Karen.
It's always Scott and Karen.
For 11 years, it's been Scott and Karen. You just shot a film with Scott and Karen.
It's been a lot longer than 11. Hey, we all have our thing, all right?
But Scott and Karen are like they're on, celluloid history. They can't be here still.
I love that one you said celluloid when we shot on video, and two you said history. That's adorable.
I'm trying.
but wouldn't you naming them the same characters like limit you from reimagining their personalities? Like
no, they're always different. They are drastically different.
They
from movie to
are.
movie.
Okay.
Yeah, I can attest to that.
Yeah, I don't know why. I partially I'm lazy.
A bit schizophrenic.
The answer to your problem is behindthename.com.
Yeah, I play with that, but I don't know. They've always been like the archetypal male and female names that I've always used. It's always been Scott and Karen. It has been since I was like a sophomore in college. It's always been those two names. So it's in my blood now. It's just I'm gonna write it out forever. I'm just gonna keep going until somebody tells me to stop.
Many adventures of Scott and Karen.
There you go.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Welcome to the Gleeful Podcast. We are back this week to discuss the latest episode of Glee entitled The Rise and Fall of Sue Sylvester. There are only 2 episodes left.
3.
Yes, 2.
3.
Well, I think it's a double in the last night, but it's 2 more.
Yeah, it's double. That's what I'm saying. There's 3 episodes, but it's 2 weeks.
There you go. 2 weeks left.
There you go. That is accurate.
To discuss the Glee.
Oh my.
So that's very exciting. We opened up there with Rather Be, originally recorded by Clean Bandit.
And Jessica Glynn? Glynn?
That's correct. Jess Glynn. I am crazy about that one. That one makes me crazy happy. But yeah, super fun. And we will go around the group. Let's just dive right in. We will go around the room and we will discuss, I want to get everybody's temperature on this episode, The Rise and Fall of Sue Sylvester. I'm going to start with Ed. Because, spoiler alert, I know where Jennifer's going to come down on this one. So I'm very curious. I want to start with Ed. Ed, what did you think of this episode?
Quick personal anecdote. Today, my boss was like, do you want to go to Boston for a week next week? I was like, yes. And then 2 hours later, he's like, never mind. So I was like, okay.
It's so mean.
That was a heartbreaking 2 hours.
A horrible.
But,
yeah.
I know, right? I was like, I'm gonna go get some Downey cider. What? Ye Olde Oyster House, the regular. But the episode, like, legitimately, I could see another opinion than the opinion that I'm about to give, but I think 2 weeks in a row I'm giving Glee an A.
Wow, 2 weeks in a row he's giving it an A.
I don't know. Like, I legitimately cared. Like, and I thought the songs were on point enough, and I enjoyed it.
Very cool. And now point and counterpoint, Jennifer. What did you think of this episode?
I think I'm wrong, apparently.
No, you are probably right. I just liked it.
Okay, here's the thing. Every time they were singing, really enjoyed it. Anytime they weren't singing, just didn't get it. There was so much there was like so much like craziness that happened with unbelievable, unrealistic, really super quick resolutions, same mistakes made over and over again, and I can't possibly believe that these things are going to happen, but the way that they're setting it up with such, disregard for everything that we just had to listen to, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, I am kind of a little annoyed and frustrated. So that said, I'm going to be like solid B. C.
I have a question for you, Jen. Is it more the Sue storyline or the Rachel storyline that's making you more upset?
Actually, all of it.
Which one's making you more upset? That was not my question.
I mean, the Sue stuff at least had some.
Okay, so I suspected that the Rachel. Suspected your answer was going to be Rachel.
Yeah, definitely more the Rachel thing, and just having, gone through this and finally come around to accepting that what she went through was actual growth, amends, and something. I just be like setting it up, and I know, okay, fine, they can't possibly make it go the same way, but the fact that we are even wasting this much time on it is frustrating. Just a lot of different things that it's like they never listened to themselves before. and now, like, I'm sitting there poking holes in stuff that's, from 2 weeks ago. I shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, this episode this episode was a sea of incongruity, I guess. Like, it really was. It was an episode that was very self-referential to earlier events in the series, while at the same time had characters saying and doing things that were totally out of character for earlier in the series. The simplest version of which being an entire conversation between Sue and her mother, where her mother says, "All I ever wanted was for you to be interested in the same things I was interested in, like old movies and musicals." And then Sue saying, "Yeah, I just hated all that stuff." When I can think of 3 other times on this series where Sue did a song from a movie musical, specifically first season where she did the big Walking Cheek number with Will. This episode for me, it's funny because Jennifer, I really thought I was going to be like playing in between you guys. I think I disliked it more than you did, actually. I hated this. I kind of hated it. I hated it. I really hated this episode. It's probably my least favorite of the season.
Really? Okay, that is a strong statement.
It's true. We got 5 songs. I thought one of them was golden. One of them was fun. 3 of them were total garbage. Rise is the worst original composition this show has ever done. And that's saying something, considering Sunshine Corazon did some weird thing no one even remembers the name of. If you were there,
I don't. No, I mean it was totally the the winner song from Idol. It
exactly.
was just so
it sounded great.
Manufactured. But
Taylor Hicks
anonymous.
would have had a huge hit with that one. No, I just.
Do I make you proud?
Yes. Do
There you go.
I could sing that song for you right now.
Please don't.
I won't. No, I I really disliked this episode, and the episode to me was kind of like Jennifer had. What did you say, Jennifer? You were like, Josh, when you're outlining a story and you put all those note cards on the wall, and then every once in a while you're like, this note card doesn't fit, and so you throw that one away. I feel like this episode is all of the leftover note cards from other episodes.
That was just dumped out of his trash bin, yeah.
And I was kind of like, not only that, but it didn't even flow. Like, this episode had no flow, it had no pacing.
That's so like funny to me. I mean, I understand all your points, but to me, like, we discussed how the Kurt Santana marriage special was the closing of season 2 storylines.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like in many ways this was like the closing of the Warbler storyline and Sue's storyline. So
that's entirely true.
Yeah.
So I thought as a story payoff, I appreciated it. I guess.
Also though, like, because I mean. Okay, because on the one hand, yes, it is the closing of the Warbler storyline. They burned down Dalton. What on earth is that about? And then, like, half the kids came to McKinley still wearing their freaking blazers. And then, but it wasn't all of the Warblers, so it was this weird subset of Warblers we've never seen before.
But I appreciated that they set up the whole Jane was a Warbler and that was a problem, and that they allowed that storyline to live on. Like, I appreciate that she didn't just forget that. Like, and I could very easily imagine Glee just forgetting that was a problem. So
yeah, but it also lived on for like 3 dirty looks and half a line. So it didn't really play out at all. I mean, they were in no way apologetic or understanding or remorseful. Anything. They came in as buttheads, and then they got their way.
Yeah.
And then I really see no resolution to Sue's storyline in this episode. I mean, Sue essentially, essentially, there's resolution in that now we have episode 1 Sue again, where she's a crazy psycho who is bent on the destruction of Will Schuester.
But we have explanation. Well, not explanation. Not to say it's very good explanation, but we have reason for why Sue is the way Sue is. And like that's kind of, I mean, that's more than Lost gave us with the polar bears. So.
Wait, but
because she was nasty from birth.
Don't ever talk about those polar bears, Ed. That's a great American novel. Now, no, but what explanation are you giving, Ed? What explanation?
Like that she from a very young age was being lied to by her parents, like, consistently. Like,
but
I don't
she didn't know she was being lied to, so that's not an explanation.
Well, maybe subconsciously she knew. I don't know.
I mean, I think it would have been a lot more interesting to find out that all of the things Sue said were true.
That would have been more exciting.
Totally absurd. But instead, it turned out that they were all false, and we found out that she's essentially a
She
psycho.
waterboarded herself, so it's still true.
She did do that. That one, she did actually waterboard herself. She did not take down Manuel Noriega, which is heartbreaking to know.
I wonder if it had any effect, because right before I watched Glee, I watched Zero Dark 30 right before it. I wonder if there's a reason. Glee didn't bother me as much.
Catherine Bigelow and Glee. We should have gotten a great Catherine Bigelow episode of Glee. As long as it was like near dark Catherine Bigelow. That would have Point Break. If we just had a Point Break episode of Glee, could you imagine? No. Well, let's go around and we'll talk a little bit about Sue's storyline in this episode. Sue was her hurt locker was discovered. So many things happened in this episode. So Sue's hurt locker was discovered. She was stripped of her powers and fired. She did a long interview with Geraldo Rivera, which had a sea of cameos in it. She was then made the coach of Vocal Adrenaline, only to come back to McKinley High to do a number kind of out of the blue. And then I really don't know how the episode turned out, to be quite honest with you. I guess she's still coach of Vocal Adrenaline?
She's still threatening them, yep.
Okay. Yeah, she's the coach of Vocal Adrenaline without question.
Jennifer, tell us a little about Sue in this episode.
Well, apparently the superintendent's power only extends as far as McKinley High, because even though he declared that she was not fit to, let alone educate and mentor children, be in their presence. So she goes to the nearby school, and well, I guess
Very conveniently, vocal adrenaline members are no longer high school age.
They are
exactly. They're all 30.
They're all 30, totally 30.
Clint is totally 30.
Yeah.
Very convenient.
So there's that.
No, Ed, sell us on it though, because you felt that this was a solid plot line for Sue. So why did it hang together for you better than?
I mean, I'm not saying it hang together, but I liked where the pieces of the puzzle are right now. Like Sue, like I was not interested in the voice battle between Blaine, Rachel, and Mr. Finn. I was not interested in watching the voice battle, but I am interested in the Sue showdown versus like it goes back to its roots of Sue versus them, and it matters. And even though it doesn't make sense why, and even though they tried to explain it, at least it was humorous. I appreciated Myron's and Rachel's discussion, and this I thought that was a great use of Myron. I thought it was a great use of Rachel. That was great, funny dialogue, and it's Glee like at least. If it's not gonna make sense, at least make it be funny, and at least it was funny. So I'm willing to give that a pass. And I don't know, I just like the showdown. It finally comes down to, will Sue win or will McKinley kids win? And honestly,
if the McKinley kids lose, then they cut all arts in the school for no reason whatsoever.
No, the entire district.
Okay, no arts in the district.
But you're right. Superintendent only has reign over McKinley.
Yeah, but I like that battle setup. It feels like the beginning storyline from episode 1 is coming to a close. So.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I want to give this.
You just don't like how they're doing it, but at least they're doing it, and that is what satisfies me.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like we've got. It's just this episode was so far into the weeds of absurdity. So many things happened.
Speaking of weeds, people didn't like the last couple seasons of Weeds, and I did. So maybe there's something to be said.
I mean, even so far as, she's still hell-bent on, bringing down Will. Will was the only person who, well, okay, Will and Sheldon, but Will spoke so highly of her and said that, she should be doing, she should be educating kids. She's really made a difference, and, she's challenging, and her methods are different and extreme, but, he still defended the good intention in her, but she can't even support that. Nothing she does or says can support that. The whole exchange with Becky was just so bizarre. It's she turned on Becky, her protege, her best friend. And the fact that they had to have Becky's boyfriend, explain what she was saying was really insulting to me because, we've understood her all along. Why is it a problem now? And I was just this is just a weird thing, and it's insulting, and everything about it was just weird to me.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I saw that. I understand that perspective, but I was seeing it more of them working as a couple and him being there to support Becky. I don't know. I thought it was
without question. No, and that's great.
Totally, absolutely. No.
It's just the context in which he did it. It's
never happened before.
Lauren Potter's a little hard to understand, but we've been following her for.
Well, has she been super angry before?
Oh, that's every episode.
I guess you're right. I don't know.
And I mean, I defended Sue. Constructing a bogus elevator and entrapping Blaine.
And you have an issue with that, but not with this. I feel like this was the just desserts. For all that.
It doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense.
At least, I mean, the one thing I will say, and we should move on because I feel bad. I feel like we're borderline ganging up on you, Ed, and I never want that.
No, you're not boarding. I mean, it's whatever. It's fine.
We are waterboarding you.
No, I want to understand.
No, but I think what it is at least with the at least with the elevator, it felt emotionally consistent. And I know, like, I'm going to get 18 emails from people like, why do you think Glee has to be such high art? And it isn't about that. It's just, I just want it to feel emotionally consistent. I want the characters to behave, no matter how wacky they behave, I want them to feel in a way that seems justified by the events around them. And Sue was such a manic, crazy person in this episode. And so many of the events in this episode seem to come from absolutely out of nowhere. There's absolutely no justification for Bill Beneke saying that he's going to cut arts funding for the district if New Directions loses one competition.
Because
it doesn't make any sense.
Because apparently one other school in the district will win. So why is that the problem?
It's sectionals. Yeah, you're right. It's all of the same district.
And the other thing that I just don't understand was when when she's being interviewed by Geraldo and he's calling her out, he's like, everybody's coming forward and saying, this is a lie, and this is a lie, and this is a lie. And I'm like, when Michael Bolton comes out and like, yeah, I don't know who she is. I never spent a year on an island with her. I did not father her child. I'm waiting for somebody to say, well, you don't even have a child, right? Because there is no child. There's no way. How can she spend all this time in a hurt locker putting together all this stuff and not
Doesn't Sue have a child?
She does, but we haven't. I don't think we've ever actually seen.
We've seen Robin once.
Have we really? We saw Robin the one time.
We saw her once.
Oh.
She brought her into the school, and Coach
Nene Leakes had commentary.
Oh yeah.
Good point.
That's the last time we saw Robin.
Yeah, Robin did disappear faster than like the baby on Murphy Brown. Like, Emma. No, Emma was always on the show. Not always. She was around. The baby I'm Mad About You. Oh my God, we're so old. Half of our listeners just went, Mad About You? What is that?
I did like that show in reruns when I watched it growing up.
There you go.
It was right after I Love Lucy, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, the whole Sue thing was kind of...
That's true. Little Ricky disappeared quite quickly. He showed up later when he got old enough to talk.
And when he got cute again.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. He was probably always a beautiful baby.
No. I never met him. Let's take a listen to This Is Far From Over, performed by or written by Frank Stallone. When we come back, I'll tell my amazing Frank Stallone story. This is Far From Over here on the Gleeful Podcast.
You made your choice and now my chance is over. I thought I was in. You put me down and say I'm going nowhere. Save me, darling. I am down, but I am far from over. Give me something. I need it all, 'cause I am running over. Back in the race, I'm moving in 'cause I am getting closer. I'm digging in. I want it more than everything I wanted. Save me, darling. I am down, but I am far from over.
This is Far From Over, originally written by Frank Stallone. It was
the greatest sequel ever.
The greatest sequel ever made, which is entitled Jennifer, Staying Alive. Staying Alive is the sequel, little known fact. Staying Alive is the sequel to Saturday Night Fever. It is starring John Travolta reprising his role as Tony Manero and is written and directed by Sylvester Stallone. It opens with this song, performed by Sylvester Stallone's brother, as they audition for a Broadway show, and it's the goofiest Broadway show audition montage you've ever seen.
So many headbands, so many mullets.
It's so funny.
And leg warmers.
Staying Alive. And then I saw Frank Stallone in concert once. Years ago, I went to see my friend's band play, and Frank Stallone opened, and he was playing solo with the guitar. He was the opening act. And he was playing solo with this guitar, and half the room was like 40 plus women just so excited for Frank Stallone. And he just did covers all night. He did like If I Had a Hammer, was one of them, and he did some songs by Bread. Did like
Wow.
If a picture paints 1,000 words, then why can I paint you? Something like that. It's pretty funny.
I picture him just doing this song multiple times.
He did this song. It was a request. He did this song.
Okay, this number, super fun. The whole sequence, it was fantastic.
I like this part. I think the two parts of this episode that I really did like were Rather Be in the opening and then this number. And this number was super fun. It was silly. It was goofy. It made me smile. You know, this one I liked, and I just have such a hard time with like Clint is like 35, like he's older than me, and I just can't even do it.
I wish I had my phone right now
because you'd look.
I'd Google him, but yeah. Anyhow.
So Ed, you had asked Jennifer what was the more annoying plot line, Sue Sylvester's plot line or Rachel's plot line, and now I'm going to put that question to you, Ed. What was the more annoying plot line, Sue or Rachel?
I don't think either was annoying for him.
Well, that doesn't mean I can't answer the question. I'm not particularly annoyed by either one, but I guess I'll go with Rachel. But not. I wasn't annoyed.
It's just, frustrating. I shouldn't say annoyed, but I was frustrated.
But okay, I understand your frustration, but they have to wrap this up in a satisfying way soon. And B, like, who's to say that Rachel didn't learn something? Even if she makes exactly the exact same decisions and does exactly the exact same thing, somewhere in that repetition, she's still learning something, right?
I want to believe you, but I'm not really seeing that yet.
No, but okay. To be fair, when she was begging for Niata and that wasn't happening, and she was given that opportunity on Broadway, she would be stupid to turn down the opportunity on Broadway because that's the only opportunity she had on the table. Now, of course, they're setting up a big dramatic choice. Yes. I hope there's a good song to go with it. That's all I can hope for.
I was like, it better be a good song. Let's be honest. That's what the show's about. No, so the Rachel's plotline in this episode is that she went to New York to plead to get her spot back at Miata from Carmen Thibodeau, and before she found out whether or not she got her spot back at Miata, she found out that she got the lead in the Russell Simmons musical she auditioned for a few weeks ago with Mercedes, who apparently has an infinite amount of time to just chill in Ohio.
Obviously.
Yeah, no place for her to go. But her single's number 89 on iTunes, so what are you going to do? And then, pretty much immediately after finding out that she has gotten the lead in this play and decides, screw school, I'm going to go to New York, or I'm going to go back to Broadway, she hears from Carmen Thibodeau and finds out that she got her spot back in Niata. What's interesting about this plotline for me was, yes, it feels really convenient. It feels more of like this kind of Rachel failing upward, which we got a lot in season 5, and kind of frustratingly in season 5. The frustrating part to me, though, was that I kind of got a sense of what made her special enough to get the part in Russell Simmons' show. It was, the sacrifice she made to kind of put herself out there, to drive out, to just throw caution to the wind and go get that audition. It did kind of feel like a satisfying response as a audience member, as a viewer, to hear that she got that part. But because we weren't a part of the conversation with Madame Thibodeau, because we don't know what she said, and we don't really know what she did in order to make the case, and then we're also told multiple times that Madame Thibodeau has been looking forward to this and really doesn't want to let her in, without knowing why the decision was made to let her in, it just felt divisive. It just felt like they're only doing this so that they can set up this dynamic of her having to choose between college and Broadway. I don't know. It ended up just feeling empty at the end of the day. It would have been interesting to get that moment with her and Whoopi Goldberg. I hear Whoopi Goldberg's on a TV show. I don't know, but
I agree with you. But I think the issue that we're running up against is that I believe ends justify means. So, and the ends is this big decision for Rachel, and the same thing with Sue and the coaching vocal adrenaline. In both situations, I very much want that end, like to see that big conflict and how it's going to resolve itself. So I don't care how they have to get there. So
but we all want that. That's what we all want. It's just that.
But you want the
we get there.
You want the satisfying to get there, but I just want to be there. I just want the good moment. I'm like whatever. Just explain it. It's fine. It doesn't matter if it makes sense.
Interesting. Jennifer, what did you think about Rachel in this episode?
Well, as I mentioned before, it was very frustrating for me. Part of the thing, and I get it. I mean, I get that this right now is just a setup for a choice, a life decision, it's going to be this realization moment where she, will do what she has to do for her, but, in my mind, it's like I'm hoping, that she actually did learn something from it. Because, the problem was, back in New York, she told, Madame Thibodeau, she told Nyada, I've gotten all I need from you. I've got it covered. I'm a star. I don't need you. I'm going to be a success. She goes out, makes some poor choices, and then fails miserably. And now she's taken this time to recoup, reflect, hide, all of the above. And now she's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to do it right this time. I'm going to go back. I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to, get the fundamentals that I need to be a success in this town. And right now they're just making us think, that she's going to take the easy way again, or take the, immediate success again, or the immediate chance of success again, as opposed to doing the work and, being humble again. I don't know. I think that's the problem. And it's sort of like, I feel like she's sort of, like hedging her bet and like keeping everybody on the line until she gets the best offer, and then she's just going to do that. Whatever's, easiest and more potential for success or profit, whatever.
It's an interesting debate on the show. I certainly have no problem with what's going to come out of this storyline. The debate of the immediate reward of going to do a Broadway show, or a more long-term, like taking a moment to build your skills so that when you do return to Broadway, you're that much better for it. It's a really interesting conversation to have, and that is when Glee has always shined, when it is spending time having those conversations, and then serenading about that conversation, and so in that way I really do. I get it, and I agree with you, Ed. What will come out of this, I think, will be really interesting. My issue is that there is a more satisfying way to get there, so that when we get her decision, it really feels valid. A character getting a second chance, like Rachel's getting a second chance in both places. Right? Yeah. She's getting a second chance on Broadway, and she's getting a second chance at Nyada. And quite frankly, in real life, second chances don't come around as much as we'd like. And so it would be really cool to see what she did to earn that second chance. I saw what she did to earn the second chance from Russell Simmons, and so I feel that she just got that role, and we all high-fived and went off into the sunset. That would be great. It'd be really great to see what she did to get that second chance from Madame Thibodeau, or at least have some sense of what she did to get that second chance, because we really have no idea what she said on either In the Office or on that phone call. It was very strange to
I don't think she said anything on the phone call.
Yeah, she said no words and then was hung up on.
Other than hello.
But yeah, again, I get these emails occasionally where it's like, you're asking so much of this show, but I want the show will be more rewarding for us. We will connect to it more if we see the struggle and the trials and tribulations, that what Rachel's willing to do to get that second chance from Madame Thibodeau. We will experience it more. And so, the show would be better, but also we as an audience will enjoy it more if we get those experiences.
Yeah, and it's like, for the most part, we're willing to overlook so much implausibility and, craziness. But, if you're going to, show a person going through supposed real-life struggles, then you've got to be a little bit realistic in that situation. And I want nothing more than like the greatest success for her. Like I want her to be a huge Broadway star, but I don't want it to be, you know, just because or just
you don't want it to feel like
it.
because it's a given. You want to feel like she earned it.
Well, and she'll appreciate it, and you know, and it's not to say that she hasn't worked hard. I mean, she has. We've seen her work hard for years, and we've seen her endure a lot over the years, and you know, put up with a lot from a lot of different people who, you know, either made fun of her, didn't believe in her, or for whatever reason just had like crazy vendettas against her. She's overcome a lot, and that's fantastic. It's just in this particular case, like it just needed to be somewhat realistic, but.
Well, we did get some time with the Dalton Warblers in this episode, where we found out that Dalton Academy burnt down. Let's take a listen to a quick song, and then we'll come back to discuss that. This is the final countdown, written and recorded by Europe, back when every country was named after, or every band was named after a country.
Europe, Asia.
Yep, Germany. I don't know. Berlin.
Oh,
that's
a city.
Fun.
Okay.
You could say it's geography based, but isn't there like a new band, Architecture in Helsinki? Are they like popular?
That sounds right. Sure.
They'll skip Kansas.
We're living together, but still it's farewell. And maybe we'll come back to Earth, who can tell? I guess there is no one to blame. We're leaving ground. Will things ever be the same again? It's the final countdown.
Always made me laugh that Europe was a Swedish band. So.
But isn't that convenient then?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, it makes sense. It just always seemed, I don't know, like I always thought Europe should be like a band from New Mexico. Like, it just seemed fitting. Like, I don't think Asia is an Asian band.
Doesn't make
I think they're from
sense.
Florida. So,
But isn't Chicago from Chicago? Boston from Boston?
I believe Boston is definitely from Boston.
Where's
So,
Kansas?
I don't know where Kansas
I'm all
is from,
obsessed
but
about Kansas right now.
One would think
Little
Kansas
dust in
is
the
from-
wind.
Asia is a British band. So, and then
Wow.
what were we at? Well, we were looking at Kansas.
Yeah.
Kansas, the band, is from Topeka, Kansas. So they
there
are
you
from
go.
Kansas. So they're still together. So there's a bit of a final countdown. My favorite part of this number was, of course, seeing Brad, and I'm pretty sure that was Brad in the '80s hair.
Oh, it's still up
on
there,
the
yeah.
keyboards in the latter half in the fantasy section, and then going back to seeing them miming smashing guitars was pretty good.
That was super fun. This was a great performance. Sue's got some pretty solid pipes on her. I was really impressed. I mean, the whole thing was really fun. And
Yeah. Ed, what'd you think of this number?
I was just surprised. I agree. It was fun. It was super fun. I liked it. I like the air guitar. I like that it was just in their head. I thought the entire sequence was just good.
Now, Ed, what did you think of Dalton Academy burning to the ground? It was actually, those were the exact words by 3 different characters, was burn to the ground.
just so we had no question. There's no like, are you sure you can't stay? Maybe.
I'm pretty sure it was Stone, too.
I was thinking like, oh, this is a very, very interesting way of filling out the 12-member Glee Club quota. Like, we discussed they were going to be cheerleaders. We discussed that they were going to do football players, but they defied our expectations and gave us a new trajectory and allowed Blaine. So when it happened, I was like, oh, that's actually something I did not expect. Bonus points which contributed to their A score for this week.
I mean, it is true. Like, I didn't expect it.
So that's why I got it points.
There you go. I mean, I think it was just that, again, like a lot of the things in this episode, it was kind of that one level too absurd for me. Like if they'd come over and been like, hey, remember that time that the Warblers were caught using performance-enhancing drugs? Well, we got disqualified, so now we can't perform. Can we join the New Directions? Sure.
No, I like this. I liked Myron. I liked the I forget his name. I don't know. I think they did a very good job with surprising us with the 3.0s. Consistent.
I do like Myron. I find Myron pretty entertaining.
Oh my god, and he's all limbs. He's so cute on stage. He's just like crazy long skinny limbs.
Yeah. And Adam's apples is growing on me.
There's like no females on New Directions though. Is what I was thinking. It's like wow, there's 3, but just 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a really good point. They really seemed, especially in the first number, the first and last numbers, that it looked to me like they're really trying to make Kitty kind of the focal point. Like they're showing a lot of Kitty. She's always dead center in the front. At the very beginning, she was kind of like helping Jane. She kind of like was giving Jane hand signals to tell her she was doing a good job, and making sure, giving everybody a smile when it was their turn to sing. I kept getting a sense of them really trying to make Kitty.
Well, because Kitty is she's like the de facto most senior person there.
That's true.
She is.
And she's the Quinn Fabray and Santana Lopez that didn't blow up too big, and Ryan Murphy can control. What?
Jennifer, what did you think of Dog?
I love you back.
Ground.
A bit extreme, bit far-fetched, but we knew they were going to do something kind of crazy to fill out the group because they only have 3 more episodes, so I knew it would be kind of crazy. I have no problem with how they got there. It's just that when they got there, they're kind of butt heads. I didn't they were very unappreciative, very unwilling to compromise, very just this is us and we're better than you and I can't believe we have to put up with this. You don't have uniforms and you can't dance. So the whole that was a little. A little too bitter for me, but I think I know it'll work out. I know it'll all be fine. And I wish that Jane had really the opportunity to tell them off and not just make, a slight comment to sort of clue them into, what they did to her and how now she's supposed to just turn around and let them in. So, that aside, I'm okay with it.
I agree. It would have been nice to get a little more
rewarding.
finality to Jane's. Yeah, hey, I came over here to build my own thing, and now you guys are coming to me and asking me to take pity on you. It's a pretty interesting role reversal. It is funny that their blazer argument was settled by, we'll just all wear blazers. A
uniform.
Clearly, my standards have lowered. I was just appreciative of the fact that they even acknowledged the fact that Jane and the Warblers had issues. I was like, that is true. They do. Yes. Good job.
We're so far in at this point. It's all right. We've been beaten down.
I mean, they made her perform a whole song to audition for them, but they just waltzed right in.
They did.
Well, okay, and the other thing, the whole jab about the red T-shirts and the jeans, I'm like, okay, that was 6 seasons ago, and they haven't worn them in competition, and are all these costumes we seeing, are they just fantasy? And then next episode, we see the preview, and they're in all these different costumes. I'm like, why the big deal? It's you can't say oh, look, the teams are bonding. There's a compromise. There's no compromise. Well, I take that back. There was compromise. It's just I don't understand.
It was kind of a compromise.
It was kind of a compromise.
Well, we'll all wear different blazers.
And the thing is, you know what? If they sounded as good as that first season of New Directions did in just, red Gap tees and jeans and Converse, they should be so lucky. They should be so lucky because that was amazing.
We also got the return of Carol Burnett in this episode, playing Sue Sylvester's mother, Carol Burnett, star of The Carol Burnett Show. That was a joke. Not really. I guess it wasn't really a joke, was it? That was actually just kind of a fact.
It was just more of
where I paused for laughter after.
We don't have a laugh track.
Son of a... I knew it!
Sorry.
Failure.
Ed, can you cue us up a laugh track?
No.
I'll just snort instead.
But yeah, so that was so we did get the return of Carol Burnett, whom I adore, playing Sue's mom, and it's always fun to have her back. That's anything to say about Carol Burnett? I guess I wanted it to be a little more exciting, but at the end of the day, she was just Carol Burnett.
Well, there was no resolution. Well, okay. I guess I agree to disagree. She said that Sue was a horrible child from birth and unlovable. Sue didn't disagree. Sue said, you just wanted me to like the things you liked, but I didn't.
Yes, Sue didn't disagree.
She didn't disagree. They did a song together, and now they're never going to talk about it again.
That's true. Even though it is kind of a repeat of the last time, like almost the exact same exchange that she had the last time her mother was on the show.
Yeah.
And all the stuff with Geraldo Rivera was kind of funny. We got lots of random cameos in that episode, or in that sequence, including Carney Wilson, Michael Bolton. But the most interesting of which was Samuel Larson showing up for a split.
I know, right? I was like, what?
With no dreads, apparently.
And the fact that, I was waiting for, Rory to pop out, from underneath the bleachers and say, she locked me in the basement.
I appreciate how unceremonious it was. I was like, I appreciate it was just there.
It was shocking and funny that way, yes.
Almost like it never happened.
Yeah.
Well, for a second, I thought it was a filmed, something that they filmed, forever ago, and they just spliced into this episode, but then Kurt and Blaine referenced the elevator, so I was like, oh, I guess that isn't... Okay. They didn't get confused.
Yeah.
Well, Jennifer, in this episode we had the return of Carol Burnett, star of The Carol Burnett Show. And, she was fantastic. I don't know if you've seen The Carol Burnett Show, but it is really classic. It's really something to discuss, and I really think, on the show...
Josh, you're just loving yourself right now.
Ed?
You really do.
Come on.
I'm just glad the camera isn't on right now.
That's right. So anyway, let's take a listen to the trolley song. The trolley song was the duet, and then we will come back and listen to a couple.
Isn't this from Meet Me in St. Louis?
It is from Meet Me in St. Louis, which I believe is also where Ohio is from, which is the last duet that they did.
Does that make sense?
No, not even a little. This is the trolley song from Meet Me in St. Louis here on the Gleeful Podcast.
It's a jolly hour on the trolley and lost my heart instead.
With his light brown derby and his bright green tie, he was quite the handsomest of men. I started to yes,
so I counted to 10, then I counted to 10 again.
Clang, clang, clang with the trolley.
Ding, ding, ding went the bell.
Zing, zing, zing with my heartstrings. From the moment I saw him, I fell.
Chug, chug, chug went the motor.
Bump, bump, bump with the brake. Thump, thump, heartstrings. When he smiled, I could feel the car shake. He tipped his hat and took a seat.
Said he hoped he hadn't stepped upon my feet. He asked my name, I held my breath.
I couldn't speak because
he scared me half to death.
buzz, buzz, buzz went the buzzer. Plop, plop, plop went the wheels. Stop, stop, stop went my heartstrings. As he started to go, then I started to know how it feels when the universe frees.
So I was wrong. Ohio is actually from Wonderful Town.
Oh.
There you go.
Never
Wonderful
heard
Town.
it.
Yeah. Neither have I. I remember, I think we had the exact same conversation the last time when we watched that
4
episode.
years ago.
So there's a new Glee video game coming out. It's called Glee Forever. You can find it. It's like an iPhone, iPad mobile game. Right now they're doing like a mailing list, and then if you sign up now, you get invited to the beta or something. I signed up. I'll let you know if I get invited to the beta.
Nice.
But I'll have a little more information to tell about Glee Forever. But here's some voicemails. We're gonna go out to Colorado for the first one. Here is listener. I don't remember.
Hey, Josh, Jen, and Ed. It's Ann from Colorado. Long-time listener. I've never called in before. Have always kind of thought if I called in, it would just be more of the same old that everybody's talking about. So I've always just kind of had fun listening. Anyway, tonight had a total have to call in moment. A total this is why I love Glee moment. So I'm sitting here getting ready for bed, happen to check Twitter, and Twitter goes crazy. There's a show on ABC Family called The Fosters, I believe, and they have a storyline that's been building up for a little bit. And I know over the last couple of weekends there's kind of even been promos for it, and they have a storyline going of, you guessed it, a boy kissing a boy. And yes, it's awesome to see those kind of things happening, but as a Glee fan, there was part of me that was like, oh boy, we've seen this before, way back when it actually really meant something. And then tonight when Twitter kind of exploded about it, I had a major, oh my God, I'm so proud of my Glee moment. Just everything that Glee has given to the fandom, and everything that the Kurt and Blaine and the Santana and Brittany storylines have been able to put out there. It's just amazing to see. And I was just like, wow, what an awesome thing this show has, given us over the years, and how awful it's going to be when it is finally gone. Just thinking back over everything from back when it started, what it was like back then, going from everything from the Krofsky bullying storyline to Blaine and Kurt meeting, to as sweet as it is and as weird as it was at the time, the Bert and Kurt sex talk scene, Blaine and Kurt's first kiss, the first time episode, going back to the Krofsky stuff, the suicide attempt episode, all those kind of things, clear up to the Bash episode, season 5. It's like, wow, look at everything that Glee has given and kind of set in motion for a show now 5 years later, to have a night where Twitter goes off over something that this show kind of started 5 years ago.
Well, thank you very much. That was a really nice kind of.
It was. I actually really appreciate hearing all those wonderful moments, because I know when this is all over, it'll all be okay, but I don't mean to be so critical right now.
Well, I imagine, before Glee, something like Smash couldn't have existed.
No.
Rest in peace, Smash. R.I.P. But, the whole, the musical comedy that, Glee was the bridge gap between music reality competition shows to dramedies. So it's no matter what happens from now on, Glee's effect will exist forever, because now people have a vocabulary oh, I can accept a song in a dramedy, so
yeah, I mean,
yay,
it just
yay Glee kids, yay.
Well, now it's become almost like de facto that shows will have a song at some point. Like they did a song in like Mad Men last season. It's just in almost every show. Like every
I was gonna go with Empire and Nashville. Those were the two other examples I was trying to. Oh, which Empire is epic. Drip, drop, drippity drop. I love Cookie. Cookie is so bad.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Here's another listener voicemail.
Hey, Josh and Ned. This is John from Cincinnati. I've been with the podcast since the very beginning, but I decided to call in for the first time because after this week's episode, I can no longer remain silent about my biggest pet peeve with Glee, and that has to do with Ohio geography. For the last few seasons of Glee, everyone has noticed the ridiculousness of the characters traveling back and forth between Lima and New York and LA. But few people realize this has been going on since episode 1. In the very first episode, they established that Vocal Adrenaline is from Akron, Ohio, which is a good 2.5-hour drive from Lima. I mean, it makes sense to visit each other for a field trip or a competition, but not every other day to spy on or pull a prank or transfer like Sunshine, Jesse, and Unique did.
Wow.
And apparently will continue living in Lima while commuting 5 hours a day to coach Vocal Adrenaline.
Wow.
That's almost a full tank of gas a day.
Yeah.
Crazy. And then in the second season, they introduced Dalton Academy and claimed that it's located in Westerville, Ohio. Although a little closer than Akron, Westerville is still an hour and 45 minutes from Lima. Definitely not close enough for both schools to hang out at the same coffee house after school. Not close enough for Sam to... Certainly, Lima is not going to be the nearest school to ship everyone off to when it burns to the ground. I cannot take it anymore. It's like the writers think that because two cities on the map are an inch apart, that means that they must be close by. They're miles and miles apart. It's ridiculous. I know that Glee has been all over the place with consistency, and I've done my best to ignore it and just enjoy the music these past 6 years. But the writers make that so difficult. Anyways, I just wanted to share that and also say that I'm truly going to miss listening to you guys every week. My love for Glee has fluctuated over the years, but listening to your podcast has always been delightful. It's truly been a highlight of my week, and I feel like I've gotten to know you guys over these past 6 years, and I'm excited for all the projects that you're a part of. And I just want to thank you so much for making the show so great, and I wish you guys all the best. Take care.
Hey.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I just, well, I mean, in clarifying the geography helps. It deflates my anger and why Sue can like teach kids in one school and not the other. And it's 2.5 hours away. There you go. So it is a different district. So
Exactly.
thank you. That makes me feel better.
Here's listener Sarah.
Hey, Josh and Ed, this is Sarah. I just wanted to call in one final time. I have just a few quick thoughts on the episode, the most recent episode, which I just saw. I liked this one overall. As someone who has really been hot and cold on Sue, mostly cold, I actually found this incredibly satisfying to, just have all of her lives and, just seeing her taken down. And it was, I'm not like a Geraldo Rivera fan, but I thought that was pretty good casting. So that was immensely satisfying. And I feel like, to have the final showdown be between, her being the leader of the Vocal Adrenaline, that seems appropriate. And I'm okay with that for like one final SmackDown. And I also felt like it was pretty ingenious to combine the Warblers and the new directions. Like, I actually totally didn't see that coming. But so good job, writers. And then, so that's what I thought about the episode. And I also just wanted to join the chorus of listeners who've been calling in to say, you know, thanks for sticking with the show and doing the podcast for so long. I've been listening since, I think, the 3rd episode of the show, so a really long time.
Wow.
And it's been cool to, I don't know, like, hear about your all's lives and how you've grown and done different things, and I don't mean that in a stalkerish way at all. And I think you guys have great chemistry. I've really enjoyed listening to you talk about the show, even when I completely disagree with your opinion. It's still entertaining. And I hope that you all can find another project to do together. So if, you know, totally understand if you need a break. I can only imagine that producing a podcast is hard work and a big time suck. So, but if you all decide to do something together again, definitely spread the word on Twitter and the internet, and I would happily listen to another show that you all do. But if not, you know, it's been awesome having you all to listen to every week. Most people I know don't watch Glee anymore, so it's, you know, it's been nice to have you guys. Take care, and talk to you later. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of reading a book called Write, Publish, Repeat, which I don't know if I recommend because it's only okay. But it talks about like self-selecting of tribes. I feel like the gleeful people who are still listening to us are like so self-selected. like it's amazing that they stuck with us and the show, or just us. Some people call it, and it just blows my mind. Like.
It's funny because like in these last couple of weeks and hearing voicemails like that, I've really been trying to think of like, is there another show that the three of us could do? Like, would we want to do another TV show? Would we want to come up with something totally different? And the one thing I kept coming back to, and it's so cheesy, but in a way, like Glee kind of picked us. Like, we just saw a show we liked, and we started talking about it, and then 6 years later, here we are.
Yeah.
And in a way, there was, at no point was there a conscious decision of, like, what should we do a podcast about? It just kind of happened, and
I remember when Josh called me. He called me, I was, like, getting burritos with Julia, and he's like, do you want to do a Glee podcast? And I was like, I was thinking about asking you, and then that was it for me.
Yeah, I mean, and I was kind of thinking that too, because there's a handful of new shows that I'm watching, and I enjoy them so much, but I don't know that they actually, you know, warrant this level of discussion, and you know, they certainly don't hit on the same types of.
Anything can warrant this level of discussion.
I don't know about
I mean,
that.
okay, maybe recently and maybe in some of, you know, the middle seasons, but I think, you know, when this first came out, there was nothing else like it.
Yeah.
And, you know, genre-wise, subject-wise, just the things that they were doing and talking about, and just it's so mind-blowing. So I think that's part of the reason I was so drawn to it and invested in it. So yeah, you know, definitely keep my eye open, and I know, you know, we've got some ideas going, and still gonna get that book club going back, Ed.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that lately, how I want to structure that.
Yeah. So, but this is, you know, like hearing these voicemails, just, you know, it's just so nice to hear that, you know, even if it's just, you know, a dozen people that are still listening and still care, it's worth it.
Yeah, oh, totally. Let's go to New England.
Hey there, Gleeful. Joey's Baby 956 here, calling in about the rise and fall of Sue Sylvester. I absolutely hated this episode. This was possibly the worst episode of Glee that I've ever had to sit through.
Wow.
I don't even know where to start. There was just way too much Sue. There was zero balance. Like, literally, we had just Sue consistently. Every time I looked at my screen, it was like to Sylvester. And I was like, didn't we wrap this up in like the Hurt Locker Part 2? Also an episode which I wasn't really a fan of. Also, why the heck did we have to bring Becky back in? Like, we wrapped up her storyline in a nice, pretty little bow as well. So why is she back? So basically, just like, why are we rehashing all this stuff that no one cares about again? Like Sue telling Will, "You're going down." Like, we've seen that 1,003 times. Like, give me something new. And like, we're bringing back the funding issue again. Like, we've gone over that so many times since the show started. Like, there's no reason to bring it back. And there's much more that I would like to see in this episode instead. I would have been really interested in seeing more of Jane and the Warblers, because she was like hardcore glaring them down in that episode in the choir room. And, you know, she's got a right. They were kind of awful to her. So I would have liked to see kind of that develop and more about, you know, the combining choir storyline. And I would have even taken more Rachel. Because, like, I mean, deciding to go back to school or go back to Broadway, that's a pretty dang big decision. So I could have taken more of that, but not so much Sue. And not with the Geraldo Rivera, who was honestly just trying to make himself relevant again. Because up until he was on Celebrity Apprentice this year, I didn't know who he was. And honestly, I can't stand him after watching Celebrity Apprentice. So, but anyway, those are just kind of some of my thoughts. So I'm interested to see what you guys have to say.
And she's gone.
Okay, go back.
You got it sound cold. So
I know.
Cold.
Like put on a muffler or something. I don't even know.
Well, I mean, if it shows up as Vermont, so if she really is in Vermont, go inside, stay warm.
Let's go local, Jennifer.
Hey, Josh, Jen, and Ed. Haley here. This episode was really fun, but also really ridiculous. But I just have one question. Are they going to stay in those uniforms for the rest of the show? Because I really want pretty show choir dresses back. All right. Hope you guys are doing well. Bye.
Thank you. We will see you in a couple days. Let's go out to Virginia.
Hi, Justin and Ed. This is Kelly the Librarian with a haiku review of this. Too much Geraldo. If Sue had burned down Dalton, this might have made sense. I also have a dropped storyline to add to your list. Bert's election to Congress. We didn't even get a cover of Fortunate Son before the writers forgot all about it. I also want to say that I've been listening to Gleeful since the second season, and I'm going to miss you guys a lot more than I'll miss this show. Glee has jumped the shark, the whale, and the giant sea squid. This podcast was always awesome. My commute is going to be a lot less fun without you. I'm looking forward to your next episode, and good luck with everything. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
The giant sea squid.
It is true.
That should be like our final T-shirt. It's going to be Glee jumping over.
The shark, the whale, and the giant sea squid.
Yep.
Oh, that's funny. And one last one, the smooth, sultry sounds of Michael David. Play. There it goes.
Hello, Josh, Jen, and Ed. It's Michael. I wanted to call because the final countdown was the most amazing performance in the history of Glee. It brought a huge smile to my face, and I don't know why. I'm just enjoying the ride in this final season. And I'll talk to you guys later. Goodbye.
Thank you very much, Michael.
Yeah, thank you.
Voldemort strikes again.
That really was. I mean, that was a really fun performance, and the fact that we got to see both sides of, the reality and the fantasy of it was.
Yeah, that was the part of it that I did like, seeing both sides.
Oh, and the fact that Will was even surprised to see Brad. I was like, Brad?
Well, Brad, he had to take some time off of the dance studio on the corner of our block where he hangs out all the time. That's a true story. So that brings us to the end of the show. If you'd like to weigh in on anything we said tonight, you can email us at gleefulpodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter at gleefulpodcast. I'm at Josh Burnell. She's at Jenny B. Creative. He's at Edward Giordano. Or go on the Facebooks and search for Gleeful Podcast. This last song is called Rise. It is an original composition. I think it might be written by Darren Criss. I'm not sure. I thought I heard that rumor. But yeah, this is entitled Rise. Ed, can you convince me this song's not...
Oh, I thought this song was just like a trash song they're trying to make popular, but now it really is. I was like, eh.
Yeah, it just felt like super anonymous, like just kind of empty and soulless.
I mean, isn't it kind of par for the course for
original song?
Well, I mean, not Loser Like Me, but
that one was
actually really good.
That was the Moment Like This home of Glee songs.
It's like it's the same computer program they use to, generate, they put in all their stuff and then they pump out an anonymous, inspirational anthem song that's supposed to get everybody amped up. And
there's a computer program that does that where you put in inspiration and then shoots out a symphony, and then
put in pizza, penguins, and petunias, and I get an anthemic song.
That'd be amazing.
And then I saw once there was this where they had a bark of wood, like a thing of wood, and then they put it on a vinyl record player, and it had an LED light, and based on the ripples on the wood, it would generate a music.
Interesting.
Wow.
So
that's kind of cool.
A million years ago on the Idol Review podcast.
Oh God.
Listen to all of the Glee finale winning songs, and
Idol finale.
Yeah, the Idol finale songs.
Oh, you said Glee finale.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we listened to all the Idol finale songs, and I found that there were 3 of them that were the exact same melody. Like you could sing the lyrics on top of them. And I'll have to dig that up because it was hilarious. I'm like, wow, they just literally reused the same song 3 times.
Which ones? Okay, I'm not disagreeing with you I
want to say it's the 1st, the 4th, and the 7th.
Inside Your Heaven, Moment Like This, and Time of Your Life. I
think it was.
Oh my God.
Did I Make You Proud? And then I think it was the Jordan Sparks one. I think you put those on top of each other. And there was
the only reason I disagree with the Jordan Sparks one is because Jordan Sparks one was the one when they did the contest where everyone entered, where fans entered to write the song.
Oh, This Is My Moment or something.
This is my now. That one was chosen by the American public amongst all the songs.
And the poor kid did a beatbox. You couldn't even.
No, that totally works. Okay, we'll do it next time. This Is My Now and Did I Make You Proud are the exact same melody.
Really? I mean, okay.
I want to say the first season too.
All right, well, we will totally. Okay, I'm going to restart Rise. Okay, here we go. For the Cleveland podcast with Josh, Shin, and Ed, I'm Josh.
I'm Jen.
I'm Ed, and I'm unsure about my Survivor winner pick. Carry on.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
La 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 la. Oh, we will rise. We are the team. We will when the world will not believe us, we will rise. We are shared, and before this all life out there, you and I, we will rise. We are young.
All right, that's it for us. Ed, it's been good talking to you. I'm going to take us off live, and we will talk to you soon. Adios, buddy.
Have a nice night.